very first podcast ever.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
It's weird.
It's weird?
Yeah, I've seen them. I never thought I was gonna be in one.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Do you ever watch podcasts?
I've watched a couple. Mostly the ones you show me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. Well, there's so much stuff I want to ask you today.
Yeah.
Our audience probably doesn't know,
Yeah.
but you are actually my brother, much
Yeah.
older brother.
Yeah, okay. Just 3 years.
I thought it was like more like 10 years.
No.
Yeah.
The clients even think you're the older one.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, they just say it because they like you more than me.
Okay.
Yeah. Everybody knows that everybody likes you more than me. it's the truth. So they're being nice to you. But why don't you introduce yourself for our audience,
Okay.
who you are, how old you are, and then we'll get started.
Okay, well, for example, you already said it. I'm your brother. My name is actually Francisco, but everyone calls me Frank. I'm your production
Or
manager.
Pancho.
No, not Pancho. There's a long story behind that of the reason why I don't like it. I'm starting to get over it because everyone uses it to tease me.
What's the long story? I actually don't know.
You don't know?
Why Pancho?
I guess I'll just show the whole world my my reasoning.
Make sure you call him Pancho.
No. Okay, well, I'll be used to it by now. But when I was I think it was the beginning of high school or at the end of middle school, we went to this ranch in Mexico with our class. I think it was we wanted to go over like American and Mexican history, and somehow this ranch was related to that. So we went to this ranch and they had this restaurant in the ranch, and everyone, it was like 20 of us in the table. We're just eating, and one guy calls me, "Hey Frank, can you pass me? I think it was a ketchup." I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I pass the ketchup, and the waiter, he's like, "Oh, damn, you're Frank? Like Francisco?" I'm like, "Yeah." "So you're like Pancho." And he starts singing this song of Pancho of the Rancho, the most beautiful and amazing guy. And I was so embarrassed. And everyone just starts laughing, starts bothering with this Pancho name. And I just hated it from since then.
And the reference is Pancho Villa, right? Is that why?
Yeah, so it's Pancho Villa. But they call me Pancho del Rancho because it rhymed.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And from there, it's just like,
It's
it kind of stuck.
kind of stuck. And it's like, oh God. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it over it. It's a lot better. Like when people tell me Pancho, I just go like, I kind of feel the little thing, but not anymore. Before I was really pissed.
I guess it doesn't help that I always introduce you as my brother, but also like, yeah, you can call him Pancho too.
Yeah. No, I hate that. Whatever.
Awesome. So yeah, no, that's great. You're obviously working with us, with me. You've been with, with Wilson Pro Painting about, is it 3 years now? Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
And then you started also in the painting industry. Previous to that, two more years?
Yeah, I believe so. It was 2 years, yeah.
So why don't you tell us about how everything got started for you? Like, where were you prior to the painting industry?
Yeah.
What were you doing? Which location? And then just give us a little bit of a background.
Huge change. I went from working for touristic companies like Wildplay, Bayat Adventures, all that kind of stuff. I will guide people through tours. I even worked as an animation team in a resort. Everything had to do with customer service and tourism. How it changed, it was COVID hit, and obviously anything that had to do with tourism closed. I was in Niagara Falls at the time, Ontario, and Toronto was there was a big problem with COVID because no one was listening to the rules. So COVID was just spreading everywhere. And they decided to move to Niagara Falls. So everything was spreading in Niagara Falls as well. So we closed. I started working on a warehouse for like a month or two, I think.
Right.
One of my coworkers' parents worked there, and they told me I could work with them in the meantime. But then that's when you called me. You're like, "Hey, well, if your business closed and you want to come to Victoria," because originally wanted to go back to Victoria to live.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why don't you just come here, work with me in the painting industry for a year, and then you can see what you can do." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Okay. I can get out of this hellhole." Because first of all, Niagara Falls is cold, very cold. too cold for me.
Yeah. I don't think I visited you once.
No.
For good reason.
Yeah, you got lucky. It was, and this is very depressive. There's a lot of depression going on in Niagara Falls.
That's freaking cold.
Well, the waterfalls, but yeah, it's very cold. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get out of here because I was also getting a bit of issues with the company because they went from being like very family oriented to like very corporation Disneyland type, in which they wanted just numbers, not.
Did you mention the name of the company just now?
No. Yeah.
Sorry if you get a bad rap. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, in my eyes, right? It's they might be doing really good. They might not. But
they're 100% not taking you back now.
I wasn't planning to go back. No, I really loved it. I really loved it, and I think the owners, the owners of the company, or at least the one, because I don't know the other one, great guy. But the manager, at least in Niagara Falls, I don't know if he's still the manager or not. They changed things to try and fit as many people as possible when it was not a possibility. It was more painful now. So that's when you told me to go back, and I went to Victoria. I didn't even know what to expect from painting, to be honest. I was like, yeah, painting houses. I don't know how that looks like. So that's when I went back and
you know what's funny? It's like what you just mentioned. I said, hey Frank, you can only come here for a year. You'll go back, and just in the meantime, it was all a sales pitch because I knew like that was my in. I was just like, I just need him to come here to the West Coast, have him like feel the nice weather and stuff, and then we can build something over here. So that was kind of like my plan all along. I just didn't want to tell you.
It was a trap.
It was a trap, a little bit.
But was it? Because it was what your second year in painting, wasn't it? Yeah, it was your second year in painting, and you were. What, a supervisor, production man? I don't remember. We were like the second hand of.
Yeah, I was. I think. Well, I was called a production manager, but it wasn't really a production manager position. And I was working with Galen at the time.
Yeah.
And I remember that in the production side, I had close to no help. Yeah. And I was like, wait a sec, who'd be perfect to? And I feel like we would crank it. We would actually do very, very well. It's like, and I thought about you. I'm like, because I knew like we have the same upbringing, we have the same values and stuff and work ethic. And I was like, dude, if Frank was here with me, we'd crank it. And then I heard from my dad or our parents, and then when I spoke with you, the situation you're which is funny because the only reason why I'm in the painting industry is because of COVID. Yeah. Same reason why you came here is because of COVID. So it's actually how, and we can talk about that later, how that gave a 180 degrees turn in our lives. Mm-hmm. But I heard that you were kind of like not doing what you were wanted to do. Yeah. And you were working in the warehouse. You're not really happy where you were and stuff. And I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to get him. So that's funny. Yeah. And that's how I end up in Victoria. Yeah. Painting for that company. So your thing, before the painting, what you like is the outdoors, right? Because you just described like 6 different jobs before the painting industry. Yeah. Well, I did study outdoor recreation. Yeah. So why did you? Because you started working before me. Obviously, you're like we said, 10 years older, but also like you started younger than me working. So why did you start working at such a young age? And what was your first job? Do you remember? My first job was I think it was 14. I think I was 14 years old. I worked at a resort as a waiter in one of their little restaurants. Yeah. And also as a bartender at their pool bar. At 14 years of age. 14 years serving alcohol. Yeah. Yeah, that's not legal. That's Well, that's Mexico. That's Mexico for you. Yeah, and well, also the general manager of the hotel was my best friend's dad. Yeah. So I think he just pulls its strings and pulled me in. But it was a very interesting story for sure. Like when I was in the bar, well, they leave a lot of tips because you see a young guy and the old drunk guys want to tell their stories and their jokes and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I started. That was my first job. From there, I've just done lots of different jobs. I was at the kids club in a resort, pretty much
doing fun activities for the kids. Then I changed to the animation team, entertaining team for adults this time. So I did the shows, the dancing. I danced in front of the whole hotel in the pool.
Yeah.
We did aqua aerobics. We did like volleyball. It was funny. I had to dress as a chimpanzee and try to like play with people. Yeah, no, it was an interesting job. I worked in France for a couple months. I was another fun job. I was dressed as a cow, giving pamphlets to people in the streets for the restaurant I worked for.
Oh, that was my favorite restaurant.
That was
in Montpellier, right? It's Holy Cow.
Yeah,
I remember.
Right.
Shout out to Holy Cow and
it was right beside where we lived.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was an interesting job for sure. But they paid better than any other job I was in. I've worked in a university in Ontario for English Language Center. So I would take do activities for international students, and sometimes I teach them English.
Yeah.
I think throughout the time I was there, I had like, I don't know, groups of 40, and I had like 3 groups, so almost like 100 people, around 100 and something people. Fun job. Then, well, I worked in Vallarta Adventures as well.
Yeah.
So it's like a big tourist company in our hometown in Mexico. And I was working as a flightboard instructor. That was fun. That was really fun, but it was so many hours of work.
Yeah.
So
under the sun too. Just like I remember you would wake up like 5 or 4:30.
Well, I had to be there at 7 in the morning, and then I left at 7 at night.
That's crazy.
And sometimes my break was eating while teaching in the water in the jet ski. It was tough, and the pay, obviously they paid per day. They don't pay per hour, and I think I was making like less than $20 a day.
Right.
And then tips. The tips were the best things because sometimes they tipped in American dollars. So we were getting the team of 4. We were getting $100 tips. So that's where most of the money came from. But and I worked in Wild Play, 2 different Wild Plays. One in Maple Ridge. Yep. That's where I was first introduced to Wild Play, and then the second Wild Play was in Niagara Falls. And that's where everything happened.
See, it's funny. Out of the 1,000 jobs that you just described, none of them are behind a desk. No. None of them are an office job. They're all like hands-on activity, outdoors. You know, like it's. I see a trend there, and so I think that's one of the reasons why you've been also successful at the trades, because you've never been in the trades before. No. Before this, right? No. It's a different ball game. Yeah. But it is outdoors, and it's just funny to see. Was there a shock, like, or a difference in when you came from all of the past experiences? Because they all have like almost the same trend. They're all more like outdoors, recreation, that kind of style. Yeah. And then going into the trades in Canada with me, like, what was your first impression when you started that?
Well, to be fair, I had an expectation that it was going to be hard, because I've always heard that anything that's trades is hard work. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, well, that'll just be tiring, but whatever. I worked many hours before, so I can do this. It's a different type of stress. Because in Wild Play, you have the stress of making sure your people are safe, and like your clients are safe and they have fun, and you're there forever. And here is the stress of the pressure of time. You have to finish things on time. You have to make sure that things are looking good. And there's a possibility that some of your painters, even myself, we can make a mistake, we can break something or do something wrong, and the client will be screaming at you. Yeah. So it was a big difference in stress. It was tough at the beginning, but it was also fun at times. Yeah. It was fun at times. So I like learning. So learning a lot of the things that I was learning, it was interesting.
Yeah. I guess the tone is also more serious now. Yeah. Because like you said, working at the resort, even being a bartender, like you're providing a service at some degree, but it's also more like, am I entertaining? Yeah. Are they having fun? Like, even in Wild Play, right? Make sure they're safe and everything, but it's just also making it an enjoyable experience. Mm. But in the painting industry or the trades, you're providing a very professional service. So I guess the tone is like, I need to be as professional as possible. And also It's just I got to deliver like a service, but in a more serious connotation, if that makes sense.
It's like tourism is you're entertaining them while you're being entertained.
Yes.
So it's just entertainment part. Everyone's happy, everyone's having fun. I mean, there's stressful times, but most of the time it's happy and having fun. Here is more like you provide a service of doing something for their property. So you have to be very careful because if you damage something, you damage their property, right? And you have to make sure it's good because they're paying big bucks for this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very different for sure.
Yeah. And did you have any expectations going into the in your first year when you first moved into came back from Ontario, got in Victoria, and then started working with Scholar's Edge?
Well,
besides the
expectations for the scholars like painting. Like I said, I did thought it was gonna be tough because, like I said, I've heard trades are hard or hard work. But my only expectation was like I'm gonna work there for a year and then I'm gonna be back to something else, and that never happened.
5 years later,
5 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Yeah,
totally. And obviously, like 5 years later, we've gone from a student painting industry to a more professional setting. Do you remember what was that transition like because we were first working under Galen, and then you and I had a conversation, and I'm like, hey, you know what, Galen wants to move up the ladder. He's going to become I think it's a district manager back then.
Yeah, I think it was a district manager.
He's going to become now he's a vice president, and then there was an opportunity to run a business ourselves, and I think I approached you, and I remember I said, if you're not there by my side, I'm not taking that chance.
Yeah.
Like there's no way that I'm going to be an operator and do what Galen did if you're not going to be my production manager. So like I take on what Galen used to be, and then you're what I was to Galen. And you were like, well, let's freaking do it.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like hesitant. I was like, I don't know, like I don't want to do it. Like, and then Galen and you, but it was mostly you that I did it. Because of you pushing me, and you believed in the.
It's funny because I also did it because you brought it up.
Like we both didn't want to do it. And it was just like, okay, who's gonna say no? And none of us said it out loud, and now we just kind of like committed. But I think because we are used to our work ethic is quite high, and once we say we're gonna do something, we just go full out, and I think that's the reason why we did so well. Because we shot for the stars. I mean, we got back then it was $530,000 in the summer, basically a little bit in the fall, let's be honest. But still in a student painting world, that's really hard to achieve. Now we're starting to see more of that, but like
back then was unheard of.
We kind of made the way, like we paved the the way. So like it wasn't achievable. It wasn't even. People wouldn't even think about that. They were doing like the 130,000s and stuff. But because of our experience with Galen and you and I combining forces, we made it happen, which is unheard of.
I mean, we did grind.
Oh, we
grinded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
How was that experience for you?
Oh my God. I used, like I said, I've always worked hours and hours a day because of Mexico, like 12-hour days. But I think this takes a win because we were working maybe not necessarily 12-hour days, but we're working not Monday to Friday. We're working Monday to like sometimes even Sundays.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, per week, we're more hours than I've worked before.
Yeah.
But that was because we were not only managing crews and teams, but we were painting with them because most of them were students, so they didn't know how to paint. So we were trying to make sure things were doing properly.
Yeah.
So I remember I remember this one job site. I think the owner was a lawyer, and I was at his house until 8 at night. It was dark outside. I had a light in my phone painting, and I didn't even notice what time it was until you called me to be like, "Where are you?" I'm just you're like, "Do you know what time it is?" And I looked up, it was dark outside. I'm like, oh, damn. Yeah, it was insane.
We did some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
It was, and I think the problem is our dynamic doesn't really help either in terms of like keeping it chill, because you have, and on one side you have me who's like borderline psycho. Like, I want more, I want more, I want more. Let's do it, do more. And then you are like, like, I'm not gonna say no. Like, you know, like, oh yeah, like bring it on. And so, like, I kind of like raised the bar way too much, and then you're like, well, I'm a trooper, bro. I'm not gonna say no to that. And it's just like we kind of like keep pushing ourselves more and more and more, and we just need somebody to kind of come in as a mediator and be like, guys, maybe you should chill.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like that in our circle that kind of brings us down, and so we're always like continuously pushing ourselves at a insane pace.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reason why we doubled in size, and we went from 500 to 1 million, and then 1.4. Now we're on track for 2 million.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like it keeps going, which is it's crazy. Most businesses, I don't know if you knew this, but they grow by 5-10% annually.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. But I think we're growing too fast that the systems are not catching up.
That's right.
Because I feel like, we have a lot of like new tools, new toys, bands, a bigger team for sure. We have more structure, we have more systems, but I still see a lot of headless chickens running around, you know, like like we still need to like settle down and figure something out in that sense. But yeah,
I agree. I mean, it's one of those things that our style also is like we kind of learn as we do. Yeah. Which I actually think it's a good thing in certain ways, because there's a lot of people that dwell in kind of planning, in the planning stage, and they lack action. And so they want to get everything perfect, and there's no such thing as a perfect plan. And so they're like, okay, well, I want to do something great, but I don't want to get started until all my ducks are lined up, and they never take action and they never get to their wanna-be. And then on the other side of the coin, which is us, we're like, well, we're gonna make it happen and we'll figure it out as we do it. And sometimes that's a recipe for chaos, but that allows us to learn quite fast. If we have the grit, which we do, and the work ethic, we learn so much along the way. Like I'd say, like right now, you're like the #1 staining on decks person that there is in the world. We didn't know how to stain decks properly, and now because of how many nightmares we've done,
let alone decks,
refinish doors too.
No, mister, you have 3 days to learn how to refinish a floor.
Yeah,
remember that? You put me in a nightmare in that one.
Yeah, well,
I had to learn how to refinish a floor in 3 days.
That's right.
I messed it up the first time, but then I had to redo it and I left it beautiful. But oh my God,
Well, let me ask you this. If you would have to do it again, would you know how to do it from A to Z?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I will need to learn how the difference between the woods, because I'm pretty sure you cannot do the same for every wood. Right. But yeah, I know the step by step now. Yeah. Like I know the step by step exactly how to do it. Yeah. But oh yeah, it was a nightmare, that for sure.
So just to give a little bit of context, you and I, even though I'm the franchisor of a corporation of Wilson Pro Painting, we happen to also own a franchise within the corporation. So we run the Victoria franchise, and Victoria produces the most revenue out of all the franchisees. Our style and our chaos has allowed us to learn quite a lot and go the ups and downs more frequently, and go through those learning curves more often. That has put us in a position where we can coach the other franchisees, because we've already gone that road where the mistakes. And so yes, there's always good behind the mistakes. I mean, it has allowed us to grow as fast as we have and get to the $2 million mark in only 3 years, which is insane. But it also helped us pave the way for the other franchisees. Yeah. And this is why I think our location, even though it's quite stressful at times, is such a key component in our success in the corporation, because we're pretty much the guinea pigs. We're the lab rats. We're the rat labs. But it's a good thing at some point, because again, if we want to try something new, we try it first here. If it works, then we implement across the board. Yeah. And that's what we've done. It's funny because we've also learned, and this is a key component, is what worked fine on a $500,000 business doesn't necessarily work on a $1 million business. And that one does not work for a 1.5, 2 million. So the changes have to be continuous, right? And so we, like you said, to the point that you made, is that we do make the changes in the systems, but then we grow too fast to the point where we got to change them again.
Yeah.
Right. So it's always constant, and I feel like that's always going to be a factor as long as we keep growing.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a good problem to have. Which is, but I still think we gotta do more planning.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Especially for the staff that we have, that we know we have a good staff. If we don't have a good planning and they go through the stress we went through the first years, we could potentially lose some people. So let's. I want to think more about them, because I've always said, if you want a successful company, make sure your staff is happy. Right? And I'm not saying pamper them. I'm saying is like, make sure they're in a fair environment of work, which they're working regular hours and they're working hard. Make sure they're working hard. They're doing their job properly, but don't enslave them. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying we are, but I'm saying don't kill them. We're not. Yeah, but don't kill them. Like with that, because too much stress can also cause health issues.
Absolutely.
So
I agree. Are you thinking more like the painter role or the management role?
I'm thinking more for the painters do have their issues, but I think it's more they don't know how to deal with new painters. Like our old painters don't know how to deal with new painters. So that's I think more training. That's it. But it's more for our superintendents or our managers. Because since there is a structure, but they don't have the proper training or the proper organization, they're just running everywhere and they have no rest time. And sometimes they get home at 7, 8 at night.
Yeah.
And I don't want that for them, right?
Yeah,
like I am okay doing it. I used to do it when I was a production manager or superintendent back in the day. But because I like to keep things organized, I will take an hour or so from my time at the end of the day to organize a band, to organize the garage. So I will be home around 7. And I was fine with that.
Yeah.
But I don't want that from them, because everyone's going to be fine with that, the same things, right?
Absolutely.
So
I think it has to do also with the type of people that you hire.
Yeah.
When I'm thinking about our superintendents, Adam and Andres, obviously Adam is much older, but he's been with us. I've known him for 6 years, but Adam is pretty young. I think he just turned 23. I want to say 22, 23.
Yeah.
But he started when he was 18.
Yeah.
Right. And so typically production managers or upper management positions in a $2 million company, they have some sort of, and especially in the trades, they have some sort of education. They went through this program. They got certified. They went through many years of experience. You're looking at a 35-year-old of somebody or more, 45. Up there with a family and much experience and everything. I think there's a component of opportunity as well for these young guys, where it's like, yeah, you don't have any other experience, but if you have the grit and you want to learn and the work ethic, yes, it'll be hard. It'll be very hard. But you'll learn so much along the way, and you'll be so ahead of everybody else for having those values in place. And even though it's hard, if you learn how to stick with it, you'll get good at it. But you'll be running a $5 million business by the time you're 25.
Yeah.
Like, that's unheard of. And so for the right people, some people like that. Some people love that. Like, yes, give me all the hours. Give me more. I'm hungry. Yes, I'm going to suffer because we're all human and we feel stuff and, it's hard. But sometimes people are hungry. And if you allow create those opportunities for those people, that's when things take off. Yes, obviously you want to make sure they're healthy and they should prioritize their health, but don't neglect the fact that there's people out there that want that lifestyle. They understand that what it takes to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And I see that with Adam. Yes, he has his hard times. I have my hard times. You get your tough times. But at the end of the day, you look back 2 years ago and you're like, whoa, a lot has changed. So I think it's important. It's a bit of both. And if if you're trying to go at a slower pace, and then focus too much on balance, which I don't believe in balance personally.
Yeah.
I don't think there's what is balance? What's your perception of balance? Because your perception of balance could be different from anybody else's, right? What's the ideal lifestyle? How you should be living your life will totally depend on what's socially acceptable or your worldview.
Yeah.
And if people say like, oh yeah, your ideal life should be working 8 hours a day, going back home, chill, go do a hobby, come back, wake up, not thinking about work on after hours. Like, that's not ideal to me. That sounds horrible. Like I have a complete different perspective on that. And so I believe in work-life integration. You mix both of them, and it's a continuous thing, especially if you're hungry enough that you want to achieve great things. This is what it takes. This is the risks you have to take and the struggles you have to face in order to achieve, that goal that you're wanting.
Yeah. I think it all depends on also your goals, right? If you have goals that you do, then yes. But there's people that don't have those goals, right? And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying that it depends on the goals at the end of the day of what you have is how your lifestyle should be. There is no right or wrong answer in the lifestyle, I think. Unless you have a goal of like, I want to be a millionaire, but I want to work 5 hours a day. Then that's a wrong answer, right?
Yeah.
But if you're like, you know what, I want to stay constant, I want to stay like at the average, and I just want to work 8 hours, and you work 8 hours, and that's the right lifestyle. Right. That's what I mean. Right? That's like,
in my eyes, that's kind of selfish. If you want a calm lifestyle, and I just want to do, the bare minimum too, I can be comfortable, I think that's a bit selfish, because in life, you're not just yourself. You have family, you're going to have your wife, you have your children. And if you should at least always strive to be better at every time. If there's no growth, you're dead.
Yeah.
100%. There's no growth in some sort, shape or form, you're going to die. Everything's going to die. And so for these people that chase just comfort, I think it's going to be short-lived, because they're going to regret it down the line when they can't pay their bills, somebody gets sick and they can't afford paying for their medical bills. They can't create opportunities for the people they love. And even if your goals are not to become a millionaire or I want every supercar in the world, you should always want to do more for the people that you love, or for that life that you want, that is like a little more calm, or the scenario that you just created. Well, first you have to get to a position where you can allow yourself to get to that point. And so the first few years of lifestyle, of work or whatever, hustle, it's never going to be calm. It can't be, because you either suffer right now and struggle through struggles right now so you can allow yourself to live a beautiful life down the road, or you have a mediocre, balanced life right now and then suffer the consequences down the road. But there's no going back once you're down the road. It's really hard, because now you're old, you're tired, your energy is low, you got medical conditions. It's really hard. But people can't see into the future. And I feel like if they could kind of, travel in time 10 years down into the future, and then look back and see what their actions right now are projecting down the road, they would change immediately. They would have that fear, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be stuck. I don't want to be that. But people can't see that, because they're living the day to day. And so having that visualization would change a lot of people's actions in the right now.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough to say for everyone, because you don't know how everyone people think, right? There's so many different types of people out there, and there's people that are selfish. There's people that are selfish. There's people that they want to do things for their family. So again, it's hard to say. I do agree with most of what you say, yes, but it's hard to say because people are so different. They're so different everywhere in the world. So what I prefer to do is, instead of talking about others, I just talk about me and the people I know. And I just keep it to ourselves, right? Because you don't know what they're going through. Another is what there's in mind. Another, they may even be single for the rest of their lives, right? They might not even want a family.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, yes, if people want to be comfortable and succeed, they need to work hard.
Yeah.
But again, not everyone wants that, or they deny that for themselves.
I think it's denial. And I think they say they don't right now. But if we had the same person down the road, they're going to be like, yeah, I should have done that. And then they have regrets. And that's when they're miserable and stuff like that. And it's just denial right now.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, everybody wants to have a good life.
Yeah.
What does that look like? You can provide for the people you love. You have a financial fence around yourself and the ones you love. You can ideally you can create impact, not just thinking about yourself, but you can also help others. You're in good health. So everybody at the end of the day, I would argue, like if we talk to anybody in the world and we mention all these things, they'll be like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Okay. But this is what you have to do to get there.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound that awesome.
Exactly.
So that's my point. It's like, yeah, everybody has different ways of thinking and stuff like that at this moment in time. And this is why we do the podcast. This is why we're helping people and trying to create impact, because we're trying to help people understand that you're right now in a position where you can change the trajectory of your life if you take action right now. Mm-hmm. This is why we do it. This is why we have this. We're trying to get into the podcast. We're trying to get into, scaling up the business, not just for ourselves, bro.
Yeah.
We're trying to get more people involved. We're trying to create opportunities for Adam, for Andres, for the supervisors that comes in and scale up to a production manager position eventually, for ownership, right? For entrepreneur, like this is why we do it. This is my why as well. And I'm curious to know what yours is.
My why for staying here?
Yeah.
Well, everything started from, it's been a funny journey. Everything started from since year one, when I thought I was going to only do 1 year. The thing of the operator presented to you from Scholar's Edge, and you asked me, and I was like, yep, you know what, let's do it. I wanted to create something. And then after that year, there was no second year of operator. It was more like jump to Wilson Pro Painting. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I want to help you create that. And it's just been that every year, in which I've just been working and wanting to see things grow. I like learning. I love learning. I love seeing the growth, and I love, but I've loved that. It's been struggle. But yeah, my mind has been always in that, in seeing how it grows, how it becomes bigger. That's where my mind has been all this time.
So let me just clarify: is it an angle from I'm just curious to see how big this gets, or what? Like, what are you trying to say when you're saying?
I want to see how far I can get doing something. You know what I mean? Like I want to see how much I can learn, how much I can make something grow with the people I work with. Because I want to see what are my weaknesses, my limits, and all that stuff, to see if I can overcome them or I can work around them. So even though there's a lot of stress and difficult times, I try to learn from myself. Like I want to learn who or what am I capable of.
Yeah.
That's my perspective. I'm not thinking of like riches and cars and no, I'm not thinking of that. I'm thinking of improving myself. You know, like how far can I go? That's what I want to see. Because once I know how far I can go, then I think the rest is easy. Because now I know how to do things.
Absolutely.
Right. That's my angle.
I think that's a great angle. It's you understand, like not a lot of people understand that through the struggles and hard times, that's where you really find what you're made of, who you are as a person, like you said, what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, and you're learning so much about yourself internally, how you function, what gets you to the point that you want to break, and what inspires you and stuff. And so even if you decide to not do this in the long term, like what you're gonna know about who Frank is, you can take that anywhere and apply it to whatever you want to do in life, and you'll be successful no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think that's very powerful.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think, I would say that part of my reasoning why I've stuck with this is because the same reason for you, but also I have what I want to achieve in life. And I think this is a great vehicle to get there.
Yeah.
Right?
I think my toughest part is because of my past experiences in tourism, I'm a big people pleaser. So when I see clients getting angry or not pleased at what we do, that's when I get so stressed. I feel it in my bones. I think that's one of the hardest parts for me in this company, for sure.
Yeah, it's funny how when we first started, it was all yes, 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 yes to everybody. Like, I need you to do this at 10 o'clock. Yeah, we would say yes. Yeah, we'll be there. And we would freak out and we'd like, crap, we can't do this, but we'll do it anyway. We'll find a way. And as years go by, like the confidence has risen. Yeah. And we know our stuff better, and we've learned so much things that now we stand our ground a little bit more. Yeah. Like we don't let people walk over us. I mean, we still want to
please them a bit, but
no, I wouldn't say please them, but make sure that they're happy. There's a customer service portion of it. Yeah. But we keep things professional, and we know how to draw the line now, which is, I think, it's critical, because if you're trying to grow, you have to do that. Yeah. Yeah. One thing that I think about is our painters, for example. We used to let clients walk all over them and be like, well, yeah, just bite the bullet and keep doing it. Show it up. Yeah. And now we stand up for them. And we go to the client, we're like, hey, you don't address them, address us. Yeah. And then if you don't want us to be here, we'll pack up our things and leave, and that's it. But we want to keep that level of respect. Yeah. And I think that's important, because you need to have some values, some standards in the company. If someone breaks it, or you allow them to break it, whether it's yourself, a team member, a coworker, or even the client, then you have no foundation to stand on. Yeah. And everything crumbles. Everything you say, it doesn't hold any value. Yeah. Or truth.
Yeah, and then the client wants to take control.
Exactly.
He tries to micromanage everything.
Yeah.
And that's not their job, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. Can you think one of the worst nightmare stories that you...
Oh, man. I think every year we have one or two really bad stories. I remember the one of I think this guy was in the army at some point, or he was still in the army, and he had this like, what are called, they planted fruits, I think, and it was like small crates of that right beside their windows. And I think the painters, the first day, they mess up and they were scraping without covering those, so some of those paint chips fell into the dirt, and he was really pissed. Whatever, we cleaned them. It was hard to clean because the paint chips getting mixed with the dirt, so it was sometimes we missed some. And then we covered them and we kept going. But I guess at some point we finished that area, moved to an area that was a bit farther from it, and we removed the plastic. And he came in and he found some paint chips that we missed, but he thought it was from the prep we were doing, and he started screaming at us and insulting us, and I was so pissed.
Oh man!
I think I called you and I told you if I stay here, I'm gonna punch this guy, and I think I left.
I remember the guy. It was it was the military guy, right?
Yeah. I was so pissed.
We have so many stories like that.
Yeah.
But hey, it just shows that this is momentary. It'll pass, and then we learn from the mistakes, and now we know how to identify those clients, and now we actually call our shots. And if we see a client we don't want to work with, or they show signs that they're going to be a nightmare, we pass on. Yeah. I think we're out of time.
Okay.
But Frank, I love you. It's been a pleasure having you on the first podcast.
Oh my God. That's
and I'm glad to have you here, and I hope to see you in the next episode.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bro.